I am your friendly neighborhood J-Man. This is the Newsbox's almost internet famous internet show, and today we're going to give you all that you need to know about the classic Batman animated series cartoon, and in a stroke of synergy on our part, an in-depth look at the DC Collectibles Batmobile from, you guessed it, the Batman animated series. Come right back.
Aggregator of awesome, the curator of cool, my dad, your friendly neighborhood Jman.
On a rather nondescript Saturday back in September 1992, the world as we had known it was changed forever. No, a breakthrough for cancer was not announced. Neither was there any sort of announcement about warp drive propulsion either. No, sadly, none of that. But our cartoon, known only at the time as Batman, made its debut on the Fox television network. Produced by storyboard artist Bruce Timm and background painter Eric Radomski, both of whom had worked previously on the Warner Brothers Tiny Toon Adventures, the new Batman cartoon dabbled in more adult-oriented themes and pushed boundaries. It was darker in tone and more violent, not only depicting Batman punching and kicking, but drawing blood as well. It was also the first cartoon in years to actually show a discharging handgun. More than that though, the show pushed boundaries stylistically. Radomski came up with the idea of painting the backgrounds for the animated series on black boards, giving the whole show a much darker tone than anything previously seen in daytime television, or at least daytime cartoons. The producers would borrow heavily from Tim Burton's timeless era feeling created in 1989's Batman and the sequel 1992's Batman Returns, with a healthy pinch of Superman cartoons that were produced by the Fleischer Studios in the early 40s for good measure. The roots of the Batman animated series lie in the early 90s. Warner Brothers Animation was having a resurgence with Tiny Toons Adventures, which debuted in 1990. With the growing success of that show, then president of Warner Brothers Animation, Gene McCurdy, announced during a staff meeting the WB was putting into development a number of new series, including one based on Batman. Bruce Timm, he took that as a sign and proposed several different designs for the character. Meanwhile, Eric Radomski was working on designs of his own for the proposed series, experimenting with the backgrounds he was painting on black illustration board, bringing the scenes to life with a series of highlights. McCurdy loved the designs and brought the two of them together to produce a 2-minute short. That short was met with so much enthusiasm, the show was quickly fast-tracked into production. Timm and Radomski's goal was clear: to elevate the medium out of the generic and boring hole television animation found itself languishing in for decades. The production on the show, however, nearly shut down before it even started. Differences with the initial series story editor nearly caused Timm and Radomski to be booted off the project entirely, in a touch of vision on Gene McCurdy's part to bring in longtime DC animator producer Alan Burnett as story editor co-producer. Through Barnett, writer Paul Dini, also from Tiny Toon Adventures, was brought on board the fledgling project. Burnett not only encouraged Dini to take established characters in different directions, he embraced Dini's weirder ideas as well. It was that spirit that not only would set the show apart from other animated shows, but other preceding versions of Batman as well. Characters were redesigned and taken in totally different directions, with inspiration taken from pioneers like Will Eisner and Jack Kirby. And while characters like the Penguin were based on Burton's version of the character in Batman Returns, Mr. Freeze, on the other hand, was reinterpreted altogether as a tragic character, mourning the loss of his true love. With production of the show now in full swing at this time, voice actors began being cast. After auditioning over 40 actors for the title role, veteran actor Kevin Conroy was finally tasked with voicing the main role of Batman Bruce Wayne. Mark Hamill, who upon learning of the project expressed a keen interest in being part of it. After playing a bit role as an evil yuppie in the episode Heart of Ice, Hamill would later be recast as the Joker. Other veteran actors like Richard Mole, Helen Slater, and Ron Perlman all were tapped to play classic characters on the show. Perhaps one of the most enduring parts of the Batman animated series, though, was Timm and Dini's creation Harley Quinn. What amounted to be a throwaway character in the episode Joker's Favor, Harley's popularity would take on a life of its own. Voiced by Arlene Sorkin, Harley would eventually cross over into the comics and finally be accepted as part of Batman canon. And of course, we all know where that leads to. So complete was the success of the Batman animated series, it quickly became the bedrock of WB's animation programming for years, serving as the basis for shows like Superman, Batman Beyond, and Justice League. The show's influence is still being recognized today in animated movies like Justice League Gods and Monsters and DC Collectibles' uber-popular 6-inch figure line from the animated series. Speaking of which, we'll be right back to look at DC Collectibles Batmobile from that line right after this.
Eyes of justice are watching. It's Batman!
Two-Face is on a firing frenzy!
Charging into action, it's combat belt Batman.
You just got on my bad side, Batman! Tough luck!
Great save!
Oh no!
Robin swoops down in his Paraweave.
Fire!
A narrow miss. The eyes of justice are watching. It's Batman in the invincible hoverbat. No contest.
Capture Claws!
Two-Face is off to serve double time. The eyes of justice, Batman.
Welcome back. DC Collectibles first teased a 6-inch scale Batman animated series Batmobile at Toy Fair 2015. The centerpiece to their newly introduced line of 6-inch animated figures, the Batmobile featured light-up functions, rolling wheels, and a slide-top canopy. Well, from DC Collectibles' lips to God's ears, the Batman animated series Batmobile made its way to store shelves October 2015 and into the hands of your friendly neighborhood J-Man. Hear me now and believe me later when I tell you I've been holding on to this thing boxed up for over 4 months. A crime, I know, but one I am rectifying as these words hit your ears. Let me state here for the record, before starting, that of all the Batmobiles ever created, the Batman animated series Batmobile is my favorite. And this thing lives up to it. It's like it was ripped off the screen and created by magic elves. From the front tail lights to the tip of the back fin, the DC Collectibles Batmobile measures approximately 26 inches long. Its color scheme is true to the show as well. No ridiculous shades of blue or camouflage here. The body of the car is painted a matte black with the grille, the wheels, and the headers all painted a light gray. The car has a retractable canopy, retractable in the sense that it slides forward. The cockpit is laid out just like it is in the show. The steering wheel even turns ever so slightly, but it does turn nonetheless. It doesn't control the wheels or anything, but you can't have everything, you unrealistic bastards. The cockpit seats 2 Batman animated series figures comfortably. Now don't be trying to squeeze Penguin or Killer Croc in there. You know what I mean. I'm talking animated series figures that have more of a restricted diet. That being said, a really nice touch on DC Collectibles' part are the functioning seatbelts. Not only do they disconnect from the seat, but they're elastic too, in case you do try to squeeze Croc in there. You want to keep them safe. The Batmobile has several light-up functions. The cockpit lights up blue. There's yellowish headlights in the front, red brake lights in the back, and don't forget about the fins, and the turbo boost lights up yellow too. Of course, where there is light-up features, there's batteries. You'll need 3 AA batteries to power this monster, not included. As an aside, I wish someone would invent or at least employ some sort of motion detecting light up feature, because once I have this thing set up, I'm unlikely to ever flip it over and turn the lights on. But a motion detecting light up feature, mwah, that would be awesome. What kind of Batmobile would you have if the wheels didn't at least move? A very fun one, that's for sure. Nothing that we have to worry about here. The front tires turn ever so slightly to the left and right. The back ones roll forward and backwards. And finally, there's the box. It's huge. I mean, to house this thing, you kind of have to expect that it would be, right? The box has some nice graphics of the vehicle on the sides and the text logo on the top. And now for the bad news. There's an upgraded version of the car coming out. The new version has chrome headers, wheels, and grille. It also comes with Batman and Robin figures that'll have cloth capes as opposed to the plastic ones. That means they'll fit in the cockpit better. But here's the most cringiest part of the deal. There's also a light up bat signal included. Now, if you, like me, are saddened that you already bought the Batmobile and really don't want to put out the extra money for another one just to get the additional goodies, worry not, my friends. I've got it on good authority that the figures and the bat signal will be sold separately as well. The fancy new Batmobile set is expected to ship August 2016 and will retail for $175. Believe you me, it'll be worth every last penny. Unless you have the first one, then, you know. And that is all the time we have for today's show. I'd like to thank myself for putting all this shit together. Don't forget to check out my website, the-newsbox.com. It's not your average, ordinary pop culture magazine. I'm also on all your favorite social media. I'm on the Twitter, I'm on the Facebook, and I'm even on the Google+. All you gotta do is search. And finally, we'll wrap Plugorama up with this. Subscribe. If you like what you've seen here, do yourself, me, and the rest of this planet a favor. Subscribe. It'll clean your teeth if you do.